Hello, hello, everyone. It's the host with the most, your main man, Darren M. Palmer. So excited to be with you once again for a new episode of The Power Story, where I get the honor and the privilege to be able to interview change agents who are making a difference locally and globally. Today, we have a change agent on by the name of Miss Brittany Parrish. Brittany, welcome to The Power Story.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be on this evening.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Don't let her fool you with that. Brittany has some gems today. So, those who tune into the show, our audience, they know how it goes. I don't give a formal introduction because please share your story on the evolution of how you have been able to evolve into the person that you are today.
Awesome. Well, just a little about my background. As you said, my name is Britt Parrish. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, and now I live in San Antonio, Texas. And how I got to where I am today was simply because I made a decision almost 4 years ago that completely changed the path of my life. So prior to 4 years ago, I was actually a healthcare professional, pretty much working paycheck to paycheck. I started out as a CNA and worked my way up to an activity director. And actually the reason that I got into healthcare was because I'm a college dropout. I dropped out of college like 6 times. I just said, you know what, it just isn't for me. And my mom, being a healthcare professional, also said, you know what, if you're not going to graduate from college, you should get into healthcare. You can make some decent money, not having a college degree, but just getting different certifications. And that's exactly what I did. I started out, like I said, a CNA. Got that certification and then just got a ton of different certifications and worked my way up to an activity director. And so doing that, I loved what I did. I loved working with the senior population. I loved, just enriching their lives every day, but I just did not like having a job. And I know there's other people out there like me who just don't like having a job. I loved working with people. I just didn't like being stuck in that bubble of, having a job, having to wake up early, having a cap on your income, not being able to travel, just all the things all those freedoms that we want to experience that our job kind of like ties us down by not doing. And so I was like, man, I need to figure out something. And this was back when I was like 27, like in my 20s. And I was like, I need to figure out something because if I don't like having a job in my 20s, I'm not going to like having one in my 30s, 40s and on up. So I need to figure out a way to not have a job, but still be able to make an income and have, the lifestyle that I want and just be able to live, pretty much. And so an opportunity came about through my boyfriend, Jeremy. Actually, we had just met like 4 months prior and he brought this opportunity to me. And I was like, you know what? This is it. I mean, I don't even know what it all entails. Like I get it, but I don't fully get it, but I'm going to go with it because one, I believed in him. But two, I believed, in the company and the vision, by the founder of that company and just all of the evidence that they had. I mean, there was people just like me, that didn't graduate from college, that, wanted more out of life, that didn't just want to settle, for a job and living paycheck to paycheck. And I was like, this is it. This is like my tribe. I need to be a part of this, right? And so after that, we just hit the ground running, pretty much building this business. And we've been through a lot, my boyfriend and I, in the past 4 years through our journey, but it has led us to this point where now we have retired ourselves by the age of 30. So I'm super excited about that. I'm just so proud about saying that. I used to be like, kind of like, is that real? But we really did retire ourselves by the age of 30. I don't have to work a job anymore. But also we're living this lifestyle where we don't need a vacation from. Like every day feels like a vacation. But also I'm making more money in my life than I've ever made and I've ever, could have imagined. And it's going to grow. It's going to continue to grow. And that's what I love about it. And so we're just in a position now that we just want to help other people create their own success story as well, because we were able to do so and it's still, creating itself. But I'm just super excited with the place that we're in, especially now with everything going on. If I hadn't made that decision 4 years ago, I could not even imagine where my life would be right now. Especially, like I said, with what's going on with the pandemic, I just can't imagine, and I don't want to. I just like to stay grateful for the fact that I'm in the position that I am now. So that's my story in a nutshell. That's as condensed as it's going to get, Mr. Darren.
I thank you so much, Britt, for sharing that information with us. I've gleaned a lot just by what you just shared there. The importance of people seeing where you are now but at the same time, it's been a work in progress.
Yes.
So you didn't just wake up like this, like Beyonce or whatnot. I mean, you put some serious effort in you and Jeremy both or whatnot to get where you all are now. But I also love the selfless part of it about you all reaching back to help other people, whatnot, to live their life on purpose or whatnot. And we're not knocking anyone who's listening to this. We're just letting you know. And I think Britt brought up a great point. She found her tribe. See, that's the key right there. Finding your tribe. We all have a tribe, but
yes,
it can seem like you are a loser if you're not a part of the right tribe. You can seem like you're an outcast if you're not a part of the right tribe. So you must align with the right tribe. Then you can understand, like, okay, like what Britt was talking about. Okay, I can do this. I'm
right.
This is what I've been missing the whole time. Now, it's some others in the same profession that she was in beforehand that's their tribe. Like that is their tribe. They've dreamed about it. This is what they've always wanted to do, and that's perfectly fine. But we're here today to tell you with the power of story that you can be a tribe. It might be welding for you. That might be your tribe,
right.
But whatever it is, make sure you find your tribe. Now, that's just something that I grabbed from what you shared about your story, Britt. But if you don't mind, could you give us 2 or 3 pointers that would be transferable through the evolution of your story or through your journey that you were able to pick up on that you think could be beneficial for those who are listening, how they can implement it in their lives to get where they want to go?
Yes, most definitely. So the first thing that I tell anybody and everybody is never give up, because I will tell you, entrepreneurship is an emotional roller coaster. You're going to feel like you're on top of the world, and it's going to bring you to like your low of lows. Like you're just going to feel like you're going crazy, but it's so worth it. Like every moment, every bad, I won't even call it bad. I call them character building days, right? Every character building day where, challenges are thrown at you and just things seem like they're not going your way. That is what Jeremy and I have embraced. Like we really, really embrace those days because we know something great is coming out of it. We know there's some kind of lesson that we can take through with us through life, or that we can apply to something, or we can teach somebody, or that's going to help craft our story. Because I know 4 years ago, like Jeremy's story is amazing, but 4 years ago, I didn't have a story. I was like, I'm just a healthcare professional. Like I don't have a story. And it really took going through that journey and our process to be able to build a story and create the story. And now look back and say, you know what, that helped make a better story. Because if you get to like the extended version of our story, it is like, whoa, I can't even believe y'all went through some of that. Right. But so the first thing is never give up. On your dreams or your goals, no matter how hard it gets, it's going to be hard. It should be hard, right? Because if it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody would be winning, right? So never give up on your story. Number 2 is stay consistent. Oh my gosh. So you have to stay consistent no matter what. I don't care if people aren't supporting you right now. If they seem like they're not liking your post or, supporting your brand or whatever, people are watching and they're waiting for you to either win or fail. And you got to show people that like you're going to win by staying consistent, by, showing that you're serious about whatever goal or whatever you're trying to achieve in life. You have to stay consistent. Like that is so key. And the third one is the major key is personal development. I was never a reader, but I've learned to fall in love with reading. I love reading books. I mean, there's just so much wealth of knowledge in books that you can literally get. Like, I mean, we buy books for $5, and I'm talking about books that, millionaires and billionaires write, and they're giving you all the secrets and all of the, tools and resources, and it's at your disposal. Like if you just read, those different like personal development books or self-help books or, anything like that, whatever you're trying to achieve or just master or be great at, like the books are there, but you have to personally develop, because you will not be the person who you are today next year or whenever to get to your next level. Like you have to change. So there has to be some growth, and it comes with personally developing. I know, like I said, for me, when I said I didn't like college, I appreciate traditional, education like all day, right? Because we need those fundamentals in life. But I never really knew about personal development and self-education, like, going out there and learning things, for yourself. I've always been resourceful, but I never really knew about books and things like that until these last 4 years. And I've read, so many, and it's like, you just get addicted to it. So personal development is like the major key right there, because you definitely have to outgrow yourself in order to get to your next level. So those are my 3 things that I've learned along the way and that I live by, like I have to in order, to keep going. So.
Hey, Britt, when you're sharing this information right now, I have to share with those who are tuned in the importance of what Britt is sharing. I didn't understand the importance of books until I realized, like, wow, wait a minute. Y'all been holding back on me this whole time.
Yeah.
In school, I thought, okay, it was like more like a punishment. Well, you got to read this. You got to do an essay like you have to, instead of I get to. And just when I realized, and, I'm just going to use, a little street terms here a little bit. When I realized that the game was in the books, when I realized, when I put that 2 and 2 together, where I realized, wait a minute, this is a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Like you say, you got all these successful people, whatever it is, if you're looking at fitness, spiritual, marriage goals, whatever you're looking at, those who've already been on this road, on this journey, they are taking their time to share with you and pour into you what could be beneficial for you. All you have to do is just read it. And like you said, sometimes it's free. Sometimes it's like $5 or less.
Yes.
20. If it is $20 or $30, what you get from that information is priceless. So now all of a sudden you're ahead of everyone else because you took that time to read, and people will invest in what you have, and they will pay you because you took the time to get the knowledge for the person who had already experienced it. And most others are binge watching, and I'm not knocking everybody who binge watching. Other people are unwilling to take that necessary step. And it, to me, allowed for me, Britt, to just operate on purpose with the personal or professional development. So I don't know if it was the same for you too. Was it like an aha moment or an epiphany where you really like, oh my goodness, I can utilize this in so many ways to help myself and help other people?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's, in terms of books, there's a ton of books where I've just had a lot of like aha moments. I think my first one was The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. Like that was one of the first books I read when I really started personally developing. I know Jeremy was like, you should read Science of Getting Rich or Think and Grow Rich, but back then I wasn't mentally prepared for the verbiage in that book. I was like, whoa, this is like information overload, right? But in terms of like in my journey, like the aha moment was definitely when I met Jeremy. Like I knew that something was going to come out of it. And of course I wanted a boyfriend to come out of it, but I knew that something bigger, was going to come out of that because he was just so different. He had already personally developed, like he was personally developing for years and years before we even met. And so he was able to introduce me to it just in conversation. He wasn't even suggesting books. It was just the way that he talked. And I was like he's different, right? And then upon meeting him and then us, getting to know each other and things like that, the opportunity came about through him, because the founder of our company approached him because of the personal development that he had been doing and showcasing on social media. So that's another, just a bonus tip. Please use your social media intentionally, right? I mean, I know social media can be for entertainment and things like that, but people are watching you. You don't even know who is watching you and who is really like, man, like, I wonder if they have something to offer me because I have something to offer them, right? But if you're not showcasing that on social media, like, so really be intentional about your social media. But I just knew that aha moment was, like I said, when I met Jeremy, and, it was like he introduced me to that opportunity, and that was like the aha. But the ultimate aha was when I got into the opportunity and I was working my job. So I was working full time as a healthcare professional, but also starting this business. And there was just this mindset like shift, but it was also like a mental pull going on because I was like, man, I don't want to work this job anymore. But I knew that I had to work it because I still had bills to pay, right? I was still building up this business, but it was just like, I know this job is not going to give me what I want. I know this business will, but I have to work this job because I still have bills. But I want to build this business because my job and how much I don't like it is motivating me to build the business. So there was just like this pull all of the time. And it was so bad to the point that I quit my job. In the first 3 months of, me trying to build a business and not making a cent, like I wasn't making any money. I was just like, I'm quitting my job. That's how much like I was so invested into that business and just believed in it so much that I was like, I'm gonna quit my job. I have my plan B, but it's not really at a level of I can replace my, job at, but I quit my job and I didn't have a job for like 2 months trying to build a business. But of course the bills started racking up and I had a mental breakdown on the phone with Jeremy and I had to go back out and get another job. And so that may happen when, you're working a job and you're trying to become an entrepreneur is you want it so bad. You want to just be able to quit your job and do entrepreneurship full time that you'll do crazy things like that, like quit your job and not be prepared. But I had to go back, and get another job and, work it with integrity and just let that be the motivation to build my business. I go to work 9 to 5, and then I'm building my dreams from 5 to 9. And I did that for a few years before we were able to be at a point where I can say, you know what, I don't need a job. Like I can kind of go without a job. It's going to be a little bit of sacrifice, but it's going to, take that safety net away and push me to really work this business. And that's exactly what it did. And then after I took that safety net away and really gave it all that we had, it just started growing. The income just started growing. And so I'm glad I took that leap. A lot of people just can't do that. Everybody's journey will be different. But for me, it was like the best thing ever. Just taking away that safety net and really seeing what you're made of. Like that was like the best thing for me ever. Because I didn't think I was even capable of it until I put myself in a situation to really see if I was. So.
But hey, that's it. And you'll never know you never know how strong you are until you have to be that strong. And
exactly.
So that's important for you to get that. And I love too the bumps and the bruises, because some people they allude and they make people think that the entrepreneur journey or anything, whether it's your career, if you want to be the best teacher or whatnot,
right?
Make it like, okay, you're just going to get right out of school, or you're just going to jump into a profession, or you're going to jump into entrepreneurship and you're going straight to the top.
Yeah.
No thing. And then some who are sadly mistaken, they think if they watch someone have a folly, or they watch someone have a learning experience, what I like to call it, then they tend to think, oh, that's why you don't do that, because that's fair.
Right.
No, whatever you do, I don't care if you're working 9 to 5, if you're not working 9 to 5, you're not going to get everything right. It's not going to be perfect, but you have to be willing to learn, put yourself out there and move forward. And I think that you brought up an interesting point, and I want to dive into this and segue into this. How important, because I hear you bringing up Jeremy or whatnot, and
yeah,
he's already developing, but how important to you for those who are in relationships, because you could have allowed for that to be a reason not to go forward with the relationship with Jeremy, because you could have said, he's different, but you chose to say he was different and you chose to grow too. Some of us feel like, because I might feel like I'm so far behind and I'm not where this person, they've been developing for years, but you chose to go on your personal and professional development journey yourself. So could you speak to that, about the importance of growing together? So many that I noticed for relationships, I mean, even in my marriage or whatnot, my wife has shared as well. I was developing to the point, like if she didn't develop, we probably wouldn't have a marriage. It was that serious, because I was just, like you said, it's a hunger. I was ravenous for learning. So I'm just reading, event. And then she's home, but I'm coming back I'm in Mars. And then she's like, what? She's watching Wife Swap, and then it's kind of different dialogue, but we've been able to come together and realize it's important that we both grow. So even with conferences and things like that, or books, we're both podcasts, we're both growing together. But could you see that from the relationship part of how to grow, even if you might seem like that you were behind, you chose to make the decision to grow?
Yeah, most definitely. So when Jeremy and I met, because he was so different, and it was so good, so different in a good way, because for a lot of people that don't know, like Jeremy and I actually met on Plenty of Fish. Like, so we met online, right? And the conversation was so different from other guys that were contacting me in my inbox, because he was like the first guy to ever ask me what was my 5-year plan. I mean, most guys, they were asking like, what's your favorite color? What do you like to do? He was like, what's your 5-year plan? Just these intellectual questions that I had never been asked. And I was like, oh, he's different, right? And so I was like, it just made me want to get to know him more. And so when we met, and we just started having conversations, things like, I mean, he was putting me on people. I had never heard of Warren Buffett. I had never heard of E.T. I had heard of Les Brown, but I just wasn't in that realm of, these motivational speakers and this, like, I just wasn't in that. And he just was always putting me in that because that was in his routine. So, E.T., he would put that on in the morning, and I would be over there and he'd be listening, and I would just be like, I can't believe I don't know E.T. I mean, I'm from Detroit. He's from, like, how do I was just so shocked. And so he did it without like trying to force it upon me, I guess, in a sense. He was just exposing me to what he had already been doing anyway. And I was like, this is just another way of life. I just didn't know, about it. And so when I learned that personal development was like important to him, it became important to me, because I was like, I don't want to be left behind. I'm trying to get to his level. I'm trying to, I want to have this just growth mindset, because I felt like like I said, I was resourceful because I can find things and learn things on my own and teach myself things, but I wasn't growing in my mind in terms of just the knowledge of things that, like, the things that you learn, listening to those type of people, or just having a mentor, period. And so he kind of like became my mentor in a sense, just not even trying to be, but in a sense, because he was just putting me onto all these different things. And so I just kind of fell in love with that. And, he would be like, well, let's read together. And, some of our dates would be like going to the park and reading. Like, he just incorporated it smoothly to where I didn't feel like it was forced upon me. It was just something that I wanted to do with him. So it's very, very important. Like Jeremy and I, like we tell couples all the time, like, you have to have an agreement, right? Because we are so fortunate that, we've been building this together since day one. And it wasn't like he was interested and then I wasn't, and I'm just sitting back and like, he's doing all this great stuff, but I'm just not doing it with him. And so we've always had that agreement to where, we were always going to build together. We always are looking for ways to bring in, streams of income, and whatever that is, if it's going to bring in money in our household, the other one is not going to say no to it. Like, we trust each other enough to be like, whatever you're investing in, whatever you're doing, if it's going to bring money into our household and it's a smart decision, like, we trust each other with that. And that just comes with growing together, reading, different things, learning about different things. Like, we just make it like, it's kind of like our dates, really. I mean, it's kind of become the norm. We'll, be in bed reading our books. And then at the end of us reading, like, that session, we'll teach each other, or we'll talk to each other about what we learned in the book. And we're helping each other grow and learn. And it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone, because we're both reading different books, but we're both learning about, those books at the same time too. So, I think that, like I said, that's just a conversation that you have to have, but sometimes it can just be something that you're implementing just a little bit each time until it becomes like the norm in your relationship, where you're reading together or listening together, or you're just so interested in that stuff, like, together. But like I said, for Jeremy, it was just very natural for us. I've never felt forced about that kind of stuff. I just always was intrigued by it more so. And it just has to be that open-mindedness about it, that you want to learn and you want to grow with your partner and not just stay where you're at. I've always been the type to be like, I don't want to be where I'm at last year, next year, like, or this year, next year. I always want to grow. I've always been that way. And so he's always the same way too. And it just kind of helped with that. But I was just so glad that he put me on, like I said, so many different things. I was like, I just felt like I was just living not in the know. And I have FOMO. Like, I really have serious, fear of missing out. And I was like, oh my God, I've been missing out on all of this, like, for so long. I wish I just knew about it, then. But again, it came at the right time, because had I been personally developing, I don't know, the conversation may have been different. I mean, it may have accelerated our relationship probably a bit faster, but I'm just glad that he was able to do that for me. So.
Well, I thank you, Britt, for sharing that information, because to me, just two takeaways from that. I love your willingness to learn. And I also love, Jeremy's approach of not forcing, or I've also seen some, they mean well, they're some good people, but at the same time, they can beat people in the head with it, far as, personal, professional development, or, act like someone is less than because they are unaware, when we all have been on that road of not knowing before. So knowing that information is definitely beneficial to those who are part of our audience, especially with relationships, because some people feel inferior. Some people don't want someone to feel like that they're above them, even though if you know something and we're not even in a relationship, if Jeremy knows something and I'm connected to you all, we all win because you all know it. And so I can benefit because I know you or know of you. And so if you got abundance, mindset instead of a lack mindset of scarcity, you can see the overflow if the community that you're a part of can put you on something that you don't, and you don't need to know everything, but having the right people in your corner will be beneficial. So with all that being said, you're inspiration, but who inspires Britt Parrish?
Jeremy. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, like I said, I know you will more than likely have him on, your webinar, but he's been through so much. He literally has, from childhood up until he met me. Like, that was a whole different chapter, but his story has inspired me because all of the adversity that he's been through, and just life or death situations, I would even say, where, he's like still here today. It just lets me know that, like, God, or, he just has a higher purpose for him. And like I said, the things that he's gone through, that's one thing that attracted me to him, was just the fact that he's gone through all of this stuff. And at the time, his mindset was not even where it is today. Like, it was personally developed, but it was just in a totally different place. But when I met him, I was just so attracted to the fact that I just wanted to be attached to him and help him build something, because he had never really had anyone in his life to help him build anything, female wise, or really just like mentor wise, I guess, up until we met our mentor and founder of our company. But his story is just, I mean, so in our journey, I'll just give a little tidbit, because he'll probably go way more into detail. But even in our journey, his best friend kicked him out of his house where he was staying. And this was when we were in Dallas, and he actually was homeless, like didn't have anywhere to go, only had his car and this trunk of clothes, and that was it. And I was like, you know what, you can, sleep in front of my mom's house. I was living with my mom at the time. She didn't know him. I was like, you sleep in front of my mom's house. And this was like in the dead of winter in Dallas. And so I was like, just really, like, when I look back on that, I'm like, man, like, he really was sleeping in his car. Like, he really was homeless, but had the audacity to still want to build a business. Like, most people would fold. Like, most people would not even be thinking about building a business. They'd be trying to figure out when their next meal, is going to come. But he was like so adamant, because he knew that the business, if he built it and just kept going, that, I mean, it would just change his life. And so him even being homeless, but allowing me to still be in his life, because as a man, I know he was like, I don't need to be, trying to talk to no girl right now. I need to get my life together. But just allowing me to still be in his life and help him, build and help him get out of that situation. But just like I said, on my end, just like, he was really in that situation. Like, he was really homeless. He, really went to jail. Like, all this stuff was happening, like, while we were together. And I'm like, man, like, and he just still pushes through, like, each and every time he just still pushes through things that, like I said, people would fold. I mean, just completely like shut down. He still persisted. And I'm like, that is just what gives me the fuel every day, because I'm like, The things that I thought I went through were bad, but like we always say, it can always be worse. And his was beyond. So his story always inspires me like every day. And just the fact that I'm a part of it now and like now know what he's gone through and lived with it with him is like amazing. So yeah, definitely his story. I can't wait for you to get him on here. Like y'all are going to be blown away.
I'm excited to hear that, but I do want to give kudos to you too, Britt, because you sharing about being a part of it, and I think that's excellent. But also, you being down like 4 flats on a Cadillac with the man in front of your mama house that don't have no job, and some could say, as TLC once said eloquently, they could look at him like a scrub, but you saw the potential, and so that's the thing about it. Now, it's easy for somebody to see Jeremy or you right now and say, oh yeah, you know, I'm down. But when you got a dream and you're sleeping in front of your mom's house because you kicked out with clothes in the back of a ride, that might not seem like a Martin Luther King, I have a dream type speech for most people, whatnot. You know, it'd be a reason for them to be, you know, gone out of that situation. So I want to say kudos to you for seeing the vision and both of you all being visionaries together, but also not just being visionaries, but having a sick, obsessed work ethic for positivity. And so that's the key to it. If you want something bad enough, too much given is much required. And so when you see the success that y'all have now, some can look at it and be like, oh, it must be easy. Oh, if they wouldn't have just met the guy that was the mentor, if I would have had that, I would have. But no, it's that getting punched and punched and punched. Like the great philosopher and former world heavyweight champion Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan till they get punched in the mouth. So when you get punched in the mouth, are you going to get up? And that's what I love about the story with you and Jeremy or whatnot. So I want to say kudos to both of you, because I think that it was meant, because you got a mindset that the average person wouldn't have had. And he has a mindset and a work ethic that the average person don't have. And that's why y'all are reaping the fruit of your rewards right now, whatnot. So Britt, what is the future of your story? What do you hope your legacy to be? What do you want to accomplish now?
Definitely before the end of this year, want to be making 6 figures residually. We're approaching that, but like I said, I have been just so blessed and highly favored to be on this journey, to be exposed to so much. I mean, just so much that people don't even know or see that has just helped us along our path. And I really want to help other people just have that freedom, like even a taste of the freedom that we are experiencing, not having to wake up and worry about a job, not having to live paycheck to paycheck, traveling, 2 to 3 times a month, not having to, like right now, I can't just the pandemic is breaking my heart, because 10 million people have filed for unemployment. And our business, thank God we have our business, because we're not worried about the things that people are worried about right now. And I say that lightly because, of course, we don't want to catch COVID and things like that, but we're not worried about the income aspect of it. And I know people are just like so worried because we don't know when this is going to end. People don't know when they're going to get their next paycheck. The stimulus check won't last forever. And I just am like, I want to help other people not have to worry, right? I want people to live a worry-free life to some degree. There's things you're going to worry about in life naturally, but I just want people to be able to experience the freedom that Jeremy and I have been able to experience, the time freedom, not having to we could wake up when we want. We can do the things that we want to do at any given moment. If I were able to travel right now, I'd go see my mom, right? I wouldn't have to worry about working a job or taking time off or worried about finding a job because I lost mine, or, it's just these freedoms that I never thought I would be able to experience 4 years ago, that I was worrying about, that I was so stressed out about, that I was like, man, I wish I can just feel what it's like, and I would literally take off days and just kind of be like, man, this is what it's going to feel like. Just waking up, hey, doing whatever like that would, and we do that. But having a day like that every day, like every day feels like Saturday. We don't even know what day it is right now. And every day feels like Saturday for us in our life. And we just want people to experience that. We really want people, anybody that's attached to us, we want to see them win. And like I said, just create that success story, help them create that success story for them to just live a life of freedom. Like, because nobody should be, feeling trapped or not happy with their life or feeling like they're settling. We only get one life. And I feel like we should make the most of it. And by doing that, we should all be able to experience freedom, like in every aspect of it. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. It's just so many nuggets that you just dropped on us there or whatnot. And I know, and I want to just, piggyback what Brittany sharing. It's not like she said, it's not that she's taking it lightly. It's not that she's running around going to Costco or Walmart and rubbing her hand across the counter and licking it to see if she's going to get COVID or not. She's not doing that. We're not talking about that. But she's saying it's the freedom. That's what we're talking about here. Of course, you got other goals. Of course, they were doing professional development broke. Did you hear what I said? They were investing in themselves broke. So don't get, it must be nice. If I had it, I would know. They did it when they were broke. That allowed for them to be able to scale because they were able to change their thinking and they had to have a work ethic. And just because it feels like Saturday doesn't mean that they don't work, but the work changes. It's new levels. As you go to new levels, you will be working. Like some people, I'm working now, but it doesn't seem like work to me because I do this for free. I did it before for free anyway. Just now we got a bigger platform, and this is my quote unquote role as the chief book officer or whatnot. But I would have this conversation with Brittany in Germany, period, just for free. Just if we were kicking it somewhere in San Antonio and they say we was on a Riverwalk somewhere, I would be talking to them about the same stuff. We just actually get the opportunity of getting compensated for it now and building the brand and building awareness to help people now. And we would have had the same kind of conversation. It's just being recorded. So that's the brilliant thing of changing your mindset. But if you don't know that, if you don't redefine and create a new norm, then you are stuck in what someone else has identified like your life should be. They have told you that you had to go and do this particular work, or this is what life should look like. Some of us are experiencing, those who have kids, you're seeing what it is. You always wonder what it would be to be able to homeschool. Now you got the opportunity. It was forced, but you're seeing what that looked like. So there's some good things that's coming out of the COVID-19 thing as well. But I just want you to understand what Britt is sharing about is freedom. The freedom of knowing that, hey, if I wasn't stuck with TSA and them tripping about me traveling, but if we wouldn't deal with a pandemic, I could go see my mom and still not have to worry about the bills. I'm not limited. If I'm in another country, I still can work. I don't have to worry about, I don't have too many occurrences, things like that. That's what she's wanting you to focus on. Change your mindset, shift the paradigm, and you will experience different things in life. So Britt, please, before we get off here, share how they can connect with you, whether it's social media handles, if they want to know more about the type of work and the business opportunities that you're able to help provide them with. Could you just share any information that you have at this time?
Yes, definitely. So I'm on social media. Instagram is Venti, V as in Victor, INTY _fresh. So Instagram, Venti Fresh. Also my travel page, because I know we are all hurting to travel right now. So I've been just posting all of my travel pictures to give people inspiration and hope and something to look forward to and something to look at, because quite frankly, we're being oversaturated with all of the COVID news. And of course we want to stay informed, but we also want to give people hope and something positive to look at as well. So my travel Instagram is Where's Brit Now, all spelled out with an underscore, BRITT now with an underscore. Jeremy and I have a YouTube channel, so you can find us on YouTube under the name Britt and Jeremy. You can search us on YouTube. We post travel, lifestyle, and entrepreneurship videos. So go and get your tips and inspiration and all the advice from us on there. And also on Facebook, you can find me, Britt Parrish, on Facebook as well. But if you want to get in contact with me about the opportunity that has changed my life and the life of over 58,000 other people, you can definitely email me at businesswithbritt, BRITT, 101 at gmail.com, all spelled out. And I would love to share information with you because, again, we plan for everybody that's attached to us to win. We've grown a team of over 100 people. And let me tell you that they're all winning. But we want to help more people too. So, definitely reach out if you're looking for change, if you're looking for an opportunity, if you're looking for something to supplement your income, a plan B, because this is not going to be the last thing that happens. God forbid that you're not prepared for the next time. We're helping people be prepared for the next time. So those are all my social media handles, Darren.
Well, I thank you so much, Britt, for sharing that information. Please, Britt, I think that you have sent it over. Send all that information over too, because I want to make sure that we have this in the show notes for those who are tuned into the podcast to be able to listen into and to be able to connect with you in Germany or whatnot and change their lives. But thank you again for coming on the show, Britt. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. And this is an amazing platform and thing that you're doing to showcase all the different people with amazing stories. Definitely glad to be a part of it and just honored, seriously honored.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. We're glad to have you. Hey, until next time, if you won't change, be the change. Be blessed and be great.